Many thanks to Jerb, Jaren, DayZ Podcast, Taggy's Tag West, Great Poncho and Black Knight for making this video possible. The Flashbang got a significant buff in patch 1.14, now blinding players completely in a larger radius and for much longer, which is a huge improvement on patch 1.13 where we just got a little bit of a drunk blur haze from a Flashbang exploding in our faces. So in this video we're going to be accidentally triggering some epilepsy while finding out how useful the new Flashbang mechanics are. Based on my test, the Flashbang has 7 status effects that negatively impact our characters, with the Flashbang becoming less effective the further it is away from players when it explodes. A player 0 meters away from an exploding Flashbang will get this white screen for 8 seconds immediately after detonation, which fades out quickly once these 8 seconds are up, along with 8 seconds of this ringing sound too, which also returns to normal quickly after these 8 seconds finish. While your screen is white, you can still see your stats, open your inventory, interact with objects, fire your weapon, casually eat food, go to the shop, like this video, and pretty much do anything else that you want to do. You just simply have a white screen. The ringing effect lasts the same amount of time as the white screen effect, but won't completely destroy your hearing, only reducing noises by a decibel value of around 25%, which means you can clearly make out gunshots and even footsteps, including the direction that these sounds come from. So even though you are completely blind, you can still use your hearing to pinpoint an enemy's position. Now the further you are away from the Flashbang exploding, the less time these two effects will last, which appear to drop off in a linear fashion up to around 20 meters where it has no effect on players at all. This also appears to be the case for the amount of health damage that the Flashbang does too, starting at 20 health damage at close range, so don't expect to kill anybody with a Flashbang, but be aware that it can actually kill people. The Flashbang doesn't do any other form of damage apart from the damage to your clothing, so against durability, and mostly this will affect your pants for some reason. The Flashbang will also reduce your stamina to 0, which also means your weapon will sway as if you've just gone out of breath, reducing the stability of your weapon by a lot for 15 seconds, making sniping close to impossible with how drunk your character becomes. However, unlike blinding, ringing, or the damage effect of the Flashbang, the stamina reduction effect of the Flashbang will always reduce your stamina to 0 at any distance. So even at 19 meters, your stamina will go to 0 if you're impacted by a Flashbang, giving you 15 seconds of this aggressive sway to contend with, which means that this stamina reducing status effect doesn't drop off over distance like the other status effects do. If you're affected by the Flashbang at all, your stamina will become 0. Regular grenades have a 4-second fuse where the Flashbang has a 3-second fuse. This means if you try to cook the Flashbang even for a split second, it will detonate as soon as you try to throw the Flashbang and give you all of these 7 status effects I just mentioned, which is not cool. What is cool though is that out of these 7, 1 of these can be completely avoided, and as it turns out, it's the worst one of all, the white screen effect. To avoid it, as you probably guessed, you just turn away your character from the Flashbang before it explodes. By turning your character though, I literally mean it. You can't just turn your head and look away, or look up or look down to avoid it. You have to turn your character physically 180 degrees around. This is because the Flashbang works on the same mechanics that the cone of crack works, a 170 degree cone in front of our characters that reaches up to 20 meters. Compared to the cone of crack, the cone of flash isn't very impressive at just 20 meters, but if a Flashbang explodes in this area, you will get this white screen effect. Even if the Flashbang is off the edge of your screen, you will get this white screen effect because the field of view doesn't extend up to this 170 degrees, and no helmet, visor, or any of the sunglasses can stop the Flashbang effect. Also, optical zoom and using binoculars won't protect you if zoomed in, but objects around the world will, such as bushes. In fact, Flashbangs are so bad at penetrating surfaces that they barely penetrate tents, and tents are the easiest objects in the game to penetrate, so putting any object between you and your character's head will stop this white screen effect. Again, I mean this literally because if you lean around a corner and only your head is exposed to the Flashbang, you will still get flashed. So to use Flashbangs effectively, you will need to get your Flashbang within around 5 meters of your target, inside their cone of flash, and make sure that the Flashbang is in line of sight of the target's head, which obviously will require some practice. Also, if you yeet your Flashbang past them, it won't blind them, and if you're within 20 meters of the Flashbang when it explodes, you won't have any sprint to rush them if they get blinded. Alternatively, you can bait them into turning around by not actually unpinning the grenade and throwing it and then rushing them, so be careful of that. Also be careful of squads sending in flashbang mules, because flashbangs that detonate inside a person's clothing will blind all players around them, including the person, But for some reason this doesn't work very well with flashbangs inside backpacks. Now if you know anything about grenades in DayZ, you will know that the regular grenades are far more effective at getting players dead than flashbangs, but flashbangs do have another use than grenades because using grenades to kill infected is very deadly, yet flashbangs are very good at killing infected. Infected take around 3 times the health damage that players do from flashbangs, so with 2 flashbangs you can kill any infected in DayZ or an entire group of infected, which is also much quieter than using a gun because sounds from explosives in DayZ only travel around 600 meters before they can't be heard by other players. I also tested attempting to destroy walls to see how flashbangs fare against walls, and flashbangs against players in cars don't really do anything either. In combination with a tripwire, you can inflict around 20 health damage and stop them from sprinting for a short while, but they will probably be running away from whatever dropped from the tripwire, so they won't be facing your exploding flashbang and won't get a white screen. A flashbang explosion within 20 meters of you will interrupt continuous actions where you have to hold down a button, like eating or fishing, but it doesn't interrupt instant actions like reloading, getting into a car, or vaulting. The quality level of a flashbang makes no difference to its performance. You cannot detonate flashbangs inside a player's inventory or inside a container. When you shoot it, it does not become damaged, and you cannot shoot a flashbang on somebody's vest. Flashbangs have a much lower health pool than regular grenades and will explode much faster inside fireplaces, which also means that all guns in DayZ can one-shot detonate flashbangs on the ground from pristine. Multiple flashbangs exploding at once will only multiply the damage status effects here, not the other status effects, but you can extend the duration status effects by chaining flashbangs together a few seconds apart. In the future, I'll be doing a full explosives guide detailing all there is to know about explosives in DayZ, landmines, grenades, gas pumps, everything. So submit any questions you have for that video below, and also let me know your opinion on the reworked flashbang. Is it enough for you to use it now? Thank you very much for watching, and have a good day.